The recent crash in Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies has seen a lot of new investors leave the market and wait on the sidelines for better times to come. But in this video, I want to show you how the news is affecting your decision and how you can get in front of the news and of course use the charts. I'll also show you some examples in real time at the end of the video, so stick around throughout the video as I'll be piecing the news together with the charts. So if you love the sound of that, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel and the bell notification icon. There's only 5% of you liking these videos. Let's get that to 10% and use the links in the description down below for Twitter and Instagram so you're not getting scammed. And we also have a free newsletter coming out this week, once every 2 weeks. We don't bombard your email inbox. Use the link down below, free, and you can unsubscribe anytime. Fantastic investment for the new investor. All right, so the main thing we're looking at here is the wall of worry, but of course my opinion is Bitcoin boom is yet to come. Markets, traditional financial markets, climb a wall of worry, and that quote was coined by one of our favorite legendary investors, Sir John Templeton. He's also known for saying, this time is different. So they're the most expensive words to an investor, new or old. This time is never different. They rhyme, things look a little different, but they're never totally different. So don't fool yourselves. There is a lot more to come in the cycle. So this wall of worry basically means bull markets climb a wall of worry, with many widely held fears constituting the bricks. So on the way up, we tend to see a lot of bad news. And then it's only once we get to the top where we get the big winner's curse phase, as Phil Anderson likes to call it, we get this blow off top where all of the worry is gone, which just allows the market to run really hard, really fast. But those times are usually short-lived. And as you can see, we get these massive corrections to follow to balance out all of the greed that comes into the market. So let's look at the wall of worry for Bitcoin and how I'm charting it when it comes to the news headlines and where this flows into the markets. We'll go through a few examples here and just show you a real easy way that you can do it yourself. So of course we have one of these major lows here, March 2020, COVID scare, markets dump, all right? But from that point, that marked a second low, second major low, and we've basically been up since that point. So I've got a lot of little pink arrows here on the chart, and now I have my Bitcoin climbs a wall of worry cheat sheet checklist here. Janet Yellen, if you remember back to January, maybe you weren't in the market. So this is perfect if you haven't been in the market, you can get a feel for what was going on through this entire period. And overall, this basically looks like a big wind up as we have seen in the past before we break out to new highs. Not confirmed yet, but that's my opinion, which is why I still think Bitcoin will boom and I'm still investing into cryptocurrency, stuff that looks strong, which we'll look at in a moment. So Janet Yellen, illicit use of crypto, first of the pink arrows here. And that's of course in the down section. Now if I take it off log, you can see the extreme here on the chart. But we just throw it back on log because it makes things look a little clearer when you're looking for long-term patterns. Carbon footprint, dirty mining. So that's the next ones here, January, February. Here are some of those articles. Bitcoin is an incredibly dirty business. January 26 comes out usually when the market is at its low. Always remember that. Major bad news usually comes out when the markets are at its low. Now we look to current day, December 6th, today's the 8th. Ethereum miners outpaced Bitcoin miners in revenue for 7th straight month in November. So no one's saying mining is bad anymore, or at least it's not in the headlines, but it's the sentiment and the narrative is still there, but just to a lesser degree. But now it's really promoting Ethereum miners making more money than Bitcoin, and we can see the strength in Ethereum at the moment. Next up, China mining blackouts. This is through April when the market first started to have its tank. So if you're in the market, this is all you saw. You just saw up. The entire time was just up. Then we started to get some fears of China banning Bitcoin again, mining blackouts. No one really thought two ways about it. We had another dump, and then we started to make a recovery. People thought we're going to $80,000. Of course, it was extreme greed at this point, which led to a lower high and then a dump. So we're using this again. We're looking at the news. What came after the mining blackout? Well, we had President Biden capital gains tax doubling. So they were looking to double the capital gains tax. That feared people at the time. I remember a lot of news was coming out about that. That's the reason why people are selling off. So they're not going to pay too much tax. Again, it was all part of the cycle. Next thing, Elon Musk is tweeting about Tesla not accepting Bitcoin anymore after initially in January, which got it out of the dump. He was going to accept Bitcoin for Tesla. Now he doesn't. So it flips over. Then we move into some liquidations in May. We move into China bans Bitcoin mining in May, which was through this whole period, May, June, July. Then we go into a bull market over in the July. That was probably the highest fear that we had into these lows in July. And that was seen as this is it. We're going through the exact cycle of 3 years up, 1 year down. I'll see you back here in 3 years' time. That was the main thing a lot of people were saying. But remember the old saying from Sir John Templeton, this time is not different. That's the most expensive words to any investor. And these quotes were coined decades ago. So we head up and we're up, and then we get some more liquidations. So all of this fear is wiped out of the market. Liquidations occur again. So if you start to note this on a chart, you'll see just how often the bad news comes in at the extreme for that period. So, and you might be wondering, well, that wasn't the extreme of the period. Well, at the time, that's definitely the extreme for that period because that is all you're seeing on a chart. And if you're following the market in April, this feels like the biggest scare that you could have ever experienced in the entire bull market thus far. And then we get a climb out of that. And of course, we get into a bigger fear. But at the time of those lows, when the big news comes out, then that is the low. And we get a few more of those periods along the way. Bull market's over. It was just rattled through everywhere. We should be going to $14,000 Bitcoin, etc. We move on. Liquidations occur here in September. We bounce out of those. We get some more bad news of Evergrande. And we can look to some of the news here that they're not even worried about Evergrande anymore. Worry easing over developers' offshore debt. This is from ChinaDaily.com.cn. And you can see from the report, observers point to the fact that the price of real estate bonds has rebounded strongly, and at least 20 Chinese developers announced within a week they would issue or have issued bonds in the interbank market. Officials from central and local levels also have all voiced a commitment to addressing the cash strains of real estate developers. So no matter what happens, basically all they're saying is no matter what happens, we'll be here to support you with cash. Beijing's fine-tuning of real estate, deleveraging, the rival in credit conditions and stabilizing market expectations. It's going to continue until the cycle is over. And if you've been following the channel, I suggest you do by subscribing and hitting that bell notification icon. We're looking for a peak in the world markets, land, property, stock markets, somewhere around late 2026. We'll know more as we get closer. We're still 5 years out, guys. And I'm not saying that Bitcoin will last until that peak, but the major markets still have some good time to go. So any of these scares that occur in the financial markets, stock markets, property markets, and then flow over into crypto are probably going to be short-lived. And that is proving itself time and time again on the chart. This was Evergrande getting absolutely hammered. World should be over. BS. We've moved up to new all-time highs from that point. Following again from there, we're looking at more of the bad news. We'll have a look here at US capital gains tax on unrealized profits. That was a lot of the news coming out as we started to slump. Then we had the COVID variant and we slumped further. Then we had US markets crash. So that fear came over into the crypto markets. And then interest rate rising scare. So as the rates are looking to rise with the inflation, stop the money printing, maybe the markets need to fall because we're not going to have the money. But we're still in the bullish cycle overall. So this is all just going to continue to be pushed by the wayside and make for really good headlines so people can come and watch more crypto videos or financial videos. But you want to know, when is the time to buy? These extreme fear periods are generally a good time to buy. And I've covered this in great detail, at least in these last couple of videos. Wyckoff bottoms, where to buy. So that's the previous video. I'll leave a link to this at the end of this video as well. And of course, 4-year cycle, I'm looking at Ethereum being one of the strongest bulls here, maybe flipping Bitcoin and continuing to inject the cryptocurrency market with a lot of love. So we've gone through Bitcoin, the wall of worry. This is what is meant by financial markets climbing a wall of worry in a bull market. So this is a very important point about bull markets. You will always see all this bad news. Last thing, you see a run up to the peak, which is short-lived. Some financial markets might take it a little bit longer because they're older, more established, and their trends have been going on for 10 or 20 years. So that last year might be 1 or 2 years of a winner's curse, meaning they run up and then they correct heavily. So a wall of worry is a key point to a bull market. And I think we've gone through enough here to prove that point, that we have had so much worry and we continue to climb at this point. So these were some simple strategies that any beginner can do. Get the news, put it onto a chart, keep it separate there so you can get an understanding for when these times come in, so that you feel more confident to be buying the dips and knowing which dips to buy as well. Detach the emotions from the news. So don't get caught up in the emotions of the news. And then again, like we said, we're going to chart the news. Use the news to your advantage. Don't get swept up in it. Today's sponsor, ByBit. Check it out. Link is down below. $3,500 if you use the links down below and follow the process to sign up and verify. There's also another link for Femex down there, 3,600. So if you sign up with both, 7,100. That's today's sponsor. Use leverage wisely. And usually at bottoms, if you have a major plan with stops in place, you can do very well. But definitely have a plan in place for Ethereum. Ethereum is looking very strong at the moment. So we've had some big drops down. So where would these good lows, buying points come in? So I often look at ETH BTC, and you can see we had a good breakout. That is often a really good place to be getting in. We want to see breakouts and then consolidation above the breakout. So Ethereum BTC has been looking very good. Ethereum USD basically hasn't even got the memo that we've gone into, well, we've had a down period and a lot of negative news out there. We had a minor spike on the day of the crash, and we are basically back into the trading range of the area above the previous top and within the previous all-time high. So Ethereum is looking quite strong. You might be asking, well, that's great, but it's already at $4,000. Sure, but there's still room for Ethereum to run, especially as it's been winding up. Another crypto which isn't as strong, but I think will run later, so I'm not suggesting it's a buy now, but the points to look at are the 50% level. So I have .BTC. Now, DOT had a good run and it's fallen all the way back down. So this is a lot weaker. The 50% levels are sitting at 60,000 and 62,000 Satoshis. So a safe entry is above those levels. So if you're looking at a wall of worry, you know that we're in a bull market. Now we have some entry points on these cryptocurrencies. And these are the larger cryptos which tend to be a little more safe. Now look at .ETH. You want to make sure that this is not getting wrecked either, because otherwise you're better off buying ETH. This has been on a major downtrend. If it breaks the lows, it's not a good trade. But if it can hold up here and start to make higher lows, then it's possible that you might be able to get some more profits on ETH rather than a different cryptocurrency. You know, you want to make sure that your cryptos are going strong against Ethereum, such as one of my favorites, MATIC. So MATIC is something we looked at on the channel as well recently before it broke out. Had it back here 5 to 6 days ago. See it here as well, looking at these charts. And the point of these is that we're getting a breakout above resistance levels. So this is MATIC Ethereum. Ethereum strong, and if your crypto is doing much better than Ethereum, then it's an even stronger trade, which you can see on the USD chart here. And looking at a doubling of the current range brings us out around $5.40. So that's about 170%. That's a target that I have in mind. A buy entry, which I've talked to about with my members in Patreon and Premium. Find a link to that down below as well. Special on the annual membership to Patreon, 16% off, so it's 2 months free. We were looking at entries above 3,600 Satoshis. And then you had a pretty close exit point below 2,000 Satoshis. So this is on the MATIC USD chart. We had a breakout above 50%, $1.60. We had a breakout above the major 50% as well, the $1.35, and a retest that we saw just 4 weeks ago. And now we're heading towards that new all-time high. If we take a look at MATIC BTC, which was the original call here, there's the tops there, a safe entry as I mentioned, 3,600, and then you can have your stops close here beneath the 2,000 level. Doesn't mean you have to trade MATIC BTC, you can be trading the MATIC USD, but if you're looking at the MATIC BTC chart, then you can use this as a sell signal as well. So check those out. MATIC Bitcoin is now above the downtrend 50% level. That is looking pretty solid at that 4,400 Satoshis. Check these out down below. Like, share, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram and the channel. Make sure you have got the bell notifications on, because I'll continue to update these trades and, of course, the cryptocurrency markets along this wall of worry journey. Links to Patreon and of course ByBit are down below. Free newsletter coming out, plenty of links, everything down below. I'll see you guys at the next video. Until then, have more fun to get more done.